Hi, Capricorn. All right, welcome to the space. Thank you for being here. If you are new, this space is called Opal Oracle. It's very nice to have you. Welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, of course. Alrighty, I just want to mention a few little things before we jump into your cards. Number one, I already recorded a reading. It was nighttime, and Thor showed up, if you know who that is, and his buddy. There was a dog party. Dogs always seem to show up for you. Do you have a dog of your own? Maybe this is a reminder. I don't know if, childhood dog or some sort of, I also feel like animals sometimes can be like loved ones, of a certain caliber. So anyway, I do feel like there's something big with work. Just a minute. I'll figure out that equation later. I guess we'll get into it. I do want to pick a few runes for you before we jump right in. Why don't you, maybe you want to, I don't know, settle into wherever you are. Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah, I feel like if you put some energy out there, especially any of you who are wanting to connect with more people in ways of socialization, just being outside of the house, this could also have to do with work, this kind of, casting your net of you and connecting with other people, I feel like it would be a great time to do so in this month. I also feel like now, it's like now until November, or the next few months would be really good for you, okay? So also figure out what you are desiring, and if there are any big changes you need to make. Okay, let's look at your cards. Just a second. Get them out of the way. Okay. So, let's see what's going on here. Obviously, some showed themselves, some didn't. I heard there's no such thing as a secret rendezvous. Everybody always knows. Like, there's no way to hide what you do. Okay? No. So, yes. Okay. Oh, good. What's this one about? Oh, Gemini has a message for you. Oh, they're a quincunx to you, or an inconjunct. That makes sense. Gemini will give you a message. Trying to figure out deeper depths of you. Okay. Now, let's see what's going on here. Okay, so there are certain things that you know. Well, I guess you have to go over your life like this. At this time, this would be very helpful, I see. this is too hot, this is too cold, this is just right. But you're going to have to adjust a little bit, because I feel like there's some sort of I feel like there's too much of something, there's not enough of something. You have to figure out how to make the middle ground. Now, some of you also could be actually, although, well, we'll just take it. There's no stereotyping any zodiacal energy, right? Everybody has it in a different place. Point is that if you're here, I see that your bed where you sleep should be very comfortable. But not so comfortable that you're like, check how much you're laying down, I guess. Like if for instance, I don't know, if for some reason you are a little lazy, although I don't see that here, but again, you could have Capricorn in the 12th house. That would make you a bit lazy, right? So make sure that you're sleeping well, but again, not sleeping too much, and I saw again, like, remember that there's nothing you can hide. There's nothing, I keep hearing the Santa Claus song. It's like, he knows when you are sleeping, he knows when you're awake, he knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake, right? But this goes across the board. It's not to make anyone, I guess I need to emphasize something here, like, it's not about oh, someone's always watching me, like that kind of paranoid. It's just having an awareness that even if no one else was around, and your other reading actually talked about this, if no one else was around, that you would do the right thing. The right thing. And you wouldn't have to second guess yourself or wonder whether you're doing the right thing or not, whether you've done the right thing. And I guess up until this point, understanding that, well, what do I see here? It keeps going into something more. It's like this intellectual conversation, but it's meant to be spiritual, but then you need to be physical about it too. It's kind of complex. Just a minute. A lot of responsibility here, right? Pluto and Capricorn. Well, I guess the question is do you feel comfortable right now? Are the bills paid? Who's paying the bills? Whose name is the deed in? Whose name is on the lease? Like, whose name is the car registered under? I heard, what's your boss's name? You know, there's something about this in ways of that needs to be attended to in work, like some basic stuff. I'd also say this is a great time to go over receipts. I mean, that should be done monthly anyway, if not weekly, right? Something to be aware of. You know, what is your outgoing expense? What is your outgoing energy? And what are you really getting back? Just to ensure that it has you don't have to wonder, like, whoa, like, I mean, if you don't, this is the thing. This is so interesting. I guess it seems to be focusing in on one thing at a time. So I guess this is also, I heard the case in point. If you feel good about life, you're taking care of yourself in a fundamental way. You're eating well. Most importantly, you're sleeping well and you have good mental health. Like, your mind is at ease, okay? Then the majority of the time. And you have your finances in order. Again, you're responsible for, because that's part of Capricorn's lesson. You have to be responsible for that. And also take care of other people. At least have enough to be able to take care of other people. You won't have to wonder whether things are in order or not. Because actually, in relation to home, whatever it is that you're wanting about home, well, you have to create it. You know, no one else creates your reality. You create it. I mean, you do learn from watching other people how they do it. So I guess another good question here is, who is your example right now in relation to life in general? Like, the people that are around you, what is that example? You know, is it mature? Is it healthy? What is your work example? You know what I mean? Like, and then I heard the word charity. Like, who, you know, maybe somebody, like, who's your example of somebody who has money in order, their life in order, their money in order, but it's not, the definition or the conversation. Because again, I see once you have everything in order, then you don't have anything to worry about. And I almost feel like I'm talking to Taurus here too. It keeps folding over. Okay. And I guess also remember, in ways of work, whatever you give, you receive in a spiritual sense, but like giving to expect, please never give to expect anything, because there will be no one on the other side of that door. And speaking of, well, I guess we could talk about expectations for a second. Well, I guess I need you to remember, I keep seeing it. It's like this 4 block, and then this, there's these two, it's like 2 different houses, okay? If you have everything in order, again, I know this is fundamental, but like sleeping, your bed's made, you know, your eating habits, your diet, your finances in order, you know, you're not cheating on anybody, lying, cheating, stealing, this kind of stuff, no secrets, then, because you know that would be what it means to be a good person, and it helps the community, it helps everybody. It's the essence of Capricorn, is to be of service, really. Well, then you don't have anything to worry about. If any of these things are wonky, well, then there needs to be some significant adjustments. And I see for most of you, you should look at your fixed signs. That's how you fix it. For a lot of you, it could have having to do with Aries is where you start, because you have no water here. And Interesting. This reading is so much different than your other one in the evening. Well, I guess a lot of you should really think about work. Like what you're working on, what you're working towards, how this connects to your house and where you live. Obviously, for some of you, it could have to do with family. For some of you, this could, because everybody's on a different point in the path, this could also be like, if you're at a certain age, like, do you want to have children? Or if your children are grown, or in a in-between stage, like, or rather there are children in your life, like, how are you providing a place for them to be if they ever needed to be there? Like, do you have space for that? Do you have, I heard, does there need to be an extension or like an expression of something? I do feel like you have a test. Like someone may be wanting to test you in some kind of way. And if you don't feel that, this is you testing yourself to be like, okay, do I have everything in order? Like there's a need for that. It's almost as if, again, even if you had the coolest boss, you didn't have to worry about money, you had a bunch of money in the bank, like, you had a bunch of friends, your relationship with your kids and your family is good, life is golden and good. I feel like it would be awesome for you to just give yourself a little bit of polishing right now. Please. Right? Technically, I'm recording this in August, which is your opposite season. So it would be nice to polish this, right? So that when actually Leo season's in full effect, or further down the line, this is also, I see this as like a couple months. There's a big Leo lesson that's been needing to be worked through, which has a lot to do with courage and with maturity, creativity, because I also see, remember, that if everybody did this for themselves, checked in with themselves, took care of everything, because the thing is once everything's taken care of, then you can learn all sorts of new things, Leo, right? Expand into these new areas so that in essence, none of us have to rely on anything external, like, you're never going to have to be on food stamps because you know how to grow your own food. You never have to be on unemployment because whatever, you understand what you need to do. You know what I mean? And I guess if any of you are on unemployment for any reason, or like if you're not challenging yourself and being ruled by Saturn, wherever your weakness is, if you are not challenging yourself, you always get a swift kick in the ass. So please do. And I see, please don't be stubborn about it, because it can't be something that's like inconsistent. It needs to be something like what you're trying to make is a wheel that turns versus something that's, I feel like there's something that's clunky, and there's something that needs to be smoothed out. Again, just some polishing. And I hope this isn't coming out harsh. I know sometimes well, I'm baritone, so but that's actually your tone. I feel like you don't mind that. Plus, I guess this is also something about your father. Like, or men in your life, men in your family. Like, who was your strong, masculine, not a female, because females can be masculine, but then they're just, that's a different energy. But really, like the males in your life, who was the strongest? And I don't mean emotional. I mean the one that was just like, you got to do this. If you don't, it's almost like harsh. It's a little bit of harsh dad, but it's like, oh my God, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, you're a slave driver, you know, or whatever. Or like, fuck you, dad. But the reality is like, in the end game, you're like, oh my, it's just like Saturn. It's like, oh my God, thank you for the lesson. Because it's weird, for some of you, the Aries in you is actually, this owl to me seems kind of meek. And I guess, what is that? Palace. So it's about problem solving too. But maybe some of you, to solve the problem is actually to get out of a space, right? Again, you have to like, maybe you need to disengage to be able, because some of your desires, you want to, which is Scorpio, is something that you're, I mean, I guess some of you could be also saving your money for something or needing to, not to be selfish or greedy, but because you're trying to ensure, again, for the future, that you have something to share with the world, right? You have something to give later. You know, somebody wants to come visit you, you have a place, you have a spare bedroom to give them, your niece, your nephew, your daughter, your friend, whatever. Like, there's something about having enough to be able to share with those that you love. This is the most beautiful Capricorn lesson ever. And Capricorn does know a lot about, needs to know a lot about money and God. But because of the society we live in, Capricorn can be more money oriented than God. But there's really no separating because, well, he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, right? He knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Where do these readings come from? I want to read you a little bit of your out of your expectation section because, oh no, I see. We have to go in your feelings because you have no cups here. Okay, that's fine. Just a moment. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right page. Okay, the sun is exalted in Aries. That's what they say, right? The ruler of the sun, Leo. Please look to these two. These are fire, right? And the third fire is Jupiter, which is about your happiness. And actually, the sun, Jupiter, and Mars are all friends, right? So maybe you want to see how these are functioning in your map if you're aware. If not, at least look to Jupiter because Jupiter does express our, well, no, let me take that back. The sun is your light, right? Okay, so you have the rune of Suelo, which looks like a lightning bolt. This stands for wholeness. I'm going to read you out of the book. It makes it easier. That which nature, it stands for wholeness. That which our nature requires. It embodies the impulse towards self-realization and indicates the path you must follow. Not from ulterior motives, but from the core of you. your own individuality and understanding how that connects to the whole. Seeking after wholeness is the spiritual warrior's quest, and yet what you are striving to become in actuality is what, by nature, you already are. I guess it's more about recognizing it, right? Become conscious of your essence and then bring it, creation, into form. Although this rune has no reverse position, right? You can't Merkstafe it. There is a reason for caution. You may see fit to withdraw or even retreat in the face of a pressing situation, especially if events or people are demanding that you expend your energy now. Know that such a retreat is a retreat in strength, a voyage inward for centering, for balance. But you're not supposed to run away or hide. If you're hiding at all, you're not supposed to hide. And I feel like this was just something contrary. Okay, so you need to also, if something's in front of you and it doesn't seem well, I guess if this is about life, let's try to figure this out. If this is about life force and creation, and you are what you're already striving to become, you still have to put energy into that to be able to recognize it. Now, of course, I guess we can't do 100%, so you have to retreat, which I guess it means treat yourself to something that feels good. Like, yes, hard day at work, have a good sleep. Hard day at work, have a nice meal, have a good sleep. Really basic stuff. But this is the retreating. Please don't retreat into yourself and not, or into something that's juvenile. This also counsels to open, this is also suggesting to open yourself up, letting the light into a part of your life that has been secret or shut away. Gemini does have a message for you. To accomplish this, this may call for a profound recognition, for admitting to yourself something that you have long denied. But it's interesting because there's a caution here to not give yourself airs, right? Which is like giving yourself a big head about something. Like, no, the ego would be in check. It would be your actions are what, right? It says, even in a time of bountiful energy, you are required to face and vanquish your refusal to let right action flow through you. Nourish this capacity, for it is the mark of true humility. It says, aim truly and then maintain your aim without manipulative effort. Meditate on Christ's words. I can of mine own self do nothing. Which is John chapter 5, verse 30. For by our own power we do nothing. Even in loving, it is love that loves through us. This way of thinking and being integrates new energies and permits us to flow into wholeness, which is the ultimate goal of the spiritual warrior. You know, and maybe that's a part of it. Some of you, for instance, work, again, Capricorn is generally good at money and God. If you could lean too heavy on one side or the other, depending. Most of the time, again, in this society, it's more into money. They make Capricorn, you know, corporations now, or this kind of stuff, which I don't agree. But the point is that your work, even God could be good, but the emotionality of you, or just like your, not that Capricorn isn't funny, because I think Capricorn could be pretty hilarious, but there is a seriousness to you. Obviously, you're ruled by Saturn. But because of that, there can also be a very childlike parts of you. Even if you do a lot of mature things, there can be an immaturity, and I guess there's a need for maturity. And maybe this is also like, who was the head of the household when you were growing up? You know, did you come from, like, was your father in charge? Did your mother wear the pants? Did you grow up in a household, like, of a divorcee? Like, you know, and then who's the male in the house now? Who's in charge? And I guess please always remember that if, and we've been talking about this for a long time, maybe even a couple years now, but you really want to look at your life as if, and maybe for some of you this has already happened, you know, like been divorced, now you live alone, no partner, your kids are grown, right? Empty nest, all this kind of stuff. It's been a couple years since we've been talking about this. Some of you are in this space. Some of you just could feel like that internally, but there should be some things that are happening where you are more solo and actually feeling really positive and good about that. It's a test to not be reliant upon your children or your job or whatever to be something that brings you that fulfillment or happiness. It's just about, it doesn't matter what your job is or whether you have kids or whether you have family or whatever. I heard God always loves you and he will always provide. So being nitpicky about stuff having to do with these kinds of things, I guess, is unnecessary. Right? And if you do feel separated, you know, I guess there's a thing too with like, who is the toxic family? Like toxic, what's the toxic thing in your life? Or, because you have to ask yourself again, remember, I know a lot of you here, you're in a really good, I feel like you're in a really good spot, you know? And if you are really aware, and understand that you are a sacred, special, you know, creation of God, of this life, then you're going to do a whole heck of a lot better. You know, not just saying it, but knowing it deep in yourself. You know, knowing that you're safe and you're loved and protected, but also knowing that we can always, we're meant to make small adjustments. So if you're in a really good space, well, please just do a little polishing. If you know that there's some things that you're being lazy, you're spending too much money, you know, whatever the things are, you got secrets, you ain't telling anybody, like, I don't know. If it's these kinds of things, then do some adjusting. really do some self-reflection in there, because wherever it is that you feel weak, that you're in these situations that aren't healthy, if you are there, then you have to realize that you're already as strong as you need to be to get yourself out of it and to change. Do you know what I mean? Because remember, you were in the Serpentine, when was that? About a year ago. And I said, I don't know how long that Serpentine will be, and I don't even, but the point is that, you know, you're driving. I mean, God's the boat, but you're driving. So, while you're here in this life, where are you going? And I'd also say, if any of you have been single for a long time, again, like, maybe it's time to, or, you know, like, so in a solo, right, way, sort of detached emotionally, maybe it'd be really nice to get out there and to share some emotion with some new groups of people. You know, expand your circle a little bit. Go to something without the same old people that you're always connecting with. I mean, nothing wrong with the regular, but you ain't never gonna have anything new if you're always doing the same thing. You know what I mean? You know, you always stay in the house. No one's gonna come knocking on the door and be like, "Hey, hot stuff, you want a job? You want a date?" You know? Oh, you're looking for a car? Like, whatever it is, it doesn't come. I mean, I feel like you know this, but maybe we just need to. You know, and whoever it is, whatever it is, or you're the secret, or the what you're trying to find, you'll find it. You'll find it. I do feel like Libra could be of service to you also. And please look to Cancer in your Cancer energy in your chart. Because if this Capricorn, for some reason, you're like, no, Raaji, whatever it is, it's a reflection into that moon space, you know, that needs to be attended to. All right, I love you so much. It felt like an interesting reading. The other one was so different, but I guess we just had to do this because well, there were too many parts of the other one that I couldn't polish. Like, I had to just start over. So that's okay too. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's gonna be different when you start over. Hello. Love you. I'll talk to you later. Please take care.